of trade here present from AGOA eligible countries, United States Deputy Secretary for Commerce, Don Graves, ambassadors who are here present, government officials and business leaders from African countries as well as the United States, leaders of organized labor, and I had a joy to see and walk around with the president of the largest trade union federation in South Africa, Ms. Zingiswa Losi. And I think there are others, that's why they are applauding. Those I didn't see, I also greet you. It's wonderful to have labor well represented here. Leaders of civil society, distinguished guests, and good morning, as we say in our country, Sanbonani. I wish to welcome all of you warmly. I know you have been welcomed, but until the President welcomes you, you should hardly ever feel welcome. Now you're welcome. It's a real pleasure to have such a galaxy of all of you here from various countries and also from the United States, whom we are about today. You are all distinguished delegates, and we are pleased that the U.S. representative, Ambassador Tai, is leading a trade delegation here, and it's wonderful to have you here. And maybe as I start, I'd like to thank you and applaud you for the interactions that you and Minister Patel had during the WTO negotiations for vaccines, when Africa expressed its desire to manufacture vaccines. You were among those who supported our call, and I'd like to applaud you for that, for having worked so well with South Africa and India and a number of other countries on the continent. So thank you very much. It was good to meet you. This 20th AGOA Forum is taking place at an important moment. It is taking place at a time when the world is facing both great difficulties that are given rise by climate change challenges, by wars that are raging in the world, and by high inflation in a number of countries, by anemic economic growth, as seen by the World Bank and the IMF. But we are also facing valuable opportunities, and this in many ways is what brings us here. This forum is also taking place on a continent of enormous potential. Africa has great endowments. It has endowments in the people of our continent, the youthful population that we have, but it also has other natural endowments in the form of great reserves of critical minerals that the world needs. It is also becoming a highly urbanized continent with young people and many other people moving to urban areas. And it is also a continent that is increasingly becoming a networked population. As African countries, we are committed to the industrialization process of our economies, and this is what would drive our entry and our participation in AGOA. By moving up the value chain, we create more jobs and more value here on the African continent, and also improve the lives of more than 1.3 billion people who live on our continent. Africa is an important source of critical raw materials, but we do not want to be defined to simply being the producers of commodities. The great industrial opportunity lies instead in the transformation of the rocks that we mine and the metal that we produce into the sophisticated industrial and consumer goods that societies across the world need. Gone should be the days when Africa is just seen as a source of rock, soil, dust being exported out of our continent. We now want to produce the products that are finished or near finished that are utilized in other parts of the world. We want to earn full value for our products. Now, on embarking on this journey, and this is a journey that requires partnership, great partnerships that we should forge, and we look forward to the United States working with African countries to foster an investment-led approach that aims to diversify international supply chains of critical minerals by beneficiating these resources here on the African continent. We look to continue to use trade as an instrument to facilitate industrialization, job creation, and inclusive growth. Minister Patel took us on a walk with Ambassador Tai and others, and we went through this exhibition, a great exhibition, Made in Africa exhibition. The first part, of course, deals with our history as a continent. But the common thread that runs through that history is how from earlier times, our forebears were already trading, not only within Africa, but with the rest of the world. They traded right across the African continent, east, west, north, south, but they also traded with the world. So trading is part of our DNA. It is in our blood, and it is this trading that we want to modernize, and we look for partners to support us in this development as we modernize our trading practices and relations. We value the relationship with the United States, the world's largest national market, and a country with which we have relationships that go well beyond just trade. Many of our countries are interconnected with the United States in more ways than one. And I must say that we value those connections with the United States. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, has served as the cornerstone of the US-Africa commercial relationship for more than 2 decades. While the legislation's unilateral trade preferences have provided economic benefits for countries across sub-Saharan Africa, AGOA as a whole remains underutilized. And I hope that in your discussions today, you will explore ways and means in which we can fully utilize this great opportunity. The legislation has helped to promote manufactured exports into the United States, but so much more can be done. The early reauthorization of the renewal of AGOA, with a particular focus on how AGOA can be improved, will help to ensure that AGOA legislation achieves its objectives and reaches its full potential. An early renewal can also help to strengthen trade and investment, a process that our continent needs greatly in order to improve the lives of the 1.3 billion people on our continent. At the same time, we see potential to enhance AGOA with reforms that will add more products and will make it easier for small and medium-sized businesses to use it. During our walkabout, we saw a diversity of businesses, both big, medium, and small. And it's always a joy to see how small enterprises come to these trade expos and display their wares and their capability. And the following years, when you come back, you find that they are now middle producing or middle businesses, and in time they will also accede to be at a higher level. While all 35 eligible sub-Saharan African countries stand to benefit from AGOA, utilization rates vary quite widely. Kenya and Lesotho have had some of the highest AGOA utilization rates. 88% of Kenyan exports and 99% of Lesotho's exports to the United States qualified for zero tariff treatment. And we are grateful for those two countries that they've been able to reach that high level of utilization of AGOA. When excluding exports of crude oil under AGOA, the data shows that the program has substantially improved the export competitiveness of certain African products, especially textiles and apparel. Apparel exports from Lesotho, Ethiopia, Mauritius, Madagascar, and Kenya have not only led to the creation of tens of thousands of jobs, but these countries have become reliable producers for American customers. Other parts of manufacturing have also seen great success under AGOA. South Africa's auto exports to the United States under AGOA have contributed to job creation in South Africa and in the auto supply chain within neighboring countries as well. For instance, South African automotive companies source their leather car seats from Lesotho and wiring harnesses from Botswana, both neighbors to South Africa. Now you see the value chain that emerges. These countries or these companies source copper wire that they utilize from Zambia, they source rubber from Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Malawi, Ghana, Cameroon, and steering wheel components from Tunisia. Now, these are then installed in cars that are exported to the United States under AGOA. Now, these inputs alone accounted for more than $200 million worth of products traded amongst African countries themselves. In this respect, AGOA makes a vital, really vital contribution to regional industrial development and the integration of the African economies. Precisely the remit of the Secretary General of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Mr. Wamkele Mene, he focuses precisely on this intra-Africa trade processes and is making tremendous progress in getting all our various countries on the continent to trade with each other. And now we've got a practical expression of it. And now you see the connection between AGOA and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as Ambassador Tai also testified to. This is critical to building Africa's productive capacities, increasing value addition per capita, as well as diversifying trade beyond the reliance on commodities. And it is for this reason that we say the critical minerals that we produce lend themselves to being processed and beneficiated on this continent, because as we can already see, they have great use on the continent to produce the finished, complete products, such as vehicles and a whole number of other products here on our continent. And this shows that this continent is on the move. This continent is the next best story of economic growth, not for itself, but in the whole world, because Africa is on the move. The exports under AGOA can complement the efforts of African countries themselves through the, as I said, the African Continental Free Trade Area. This free trade area is an engine for increased trade with each other. We have made very substantial progress, and we expect that as we commence to trade more fully under this trade agreement, we will be able to see great results and benefits shortly. The duty-free quota market access provided by the United States under AGOA can be further leveraged to promote investment in Africa, including from the United States. I'm glad that trade ministers from across the continent have been able to meet and to engage with their counterparts and colleagues from the United States. But I'm also pleased that the labor unions have also been in the mix, and civil society as well. This will be about one of the best conferences or summits that we've held to bring together a full combination of the key role players in any economy. And for us as South Africa, I would say this is the way we work. This is the way we roll. This is how we do things. And so it's wonderful to do things. So we would like you to look at the extension of our renewal of AGOA for a sufficiently lengthy period for it to act as an incentive to investors to build new factories on the African continent. And as we were going around talking to a number of product producers, the recurring message and word I heard is, we can do more. We can do more if this opportunity is extended, and we can build more capacity if we have certainty, Ambassador Tai, that yes, the period of extension will be longer. Now, shorter periods of extension impede investment ambitions, and we therefore want to see a much lengthier period of extension. United States and Africa, we are going to be here for a long time. United States and us, we are here for the long haul. So let us make AGOA a long haul opportunity for all of us. We believe there is great value in retaining all beneficiary countries to build on the emerging regional value chains that are making a significant contribution to the industrialization of the African continent. A more targeted effort to promote greater levels of investment can help to unlock AGOA's opportunities and proposition. We do, however, remain concerned about the negative effects that trade restrictions on products like steel, aluminum, or citrus fruit have on AGOA utilization rates. And we believe that that should be looked at, and I would like to suggest that in your discussions, once I have left, because I could spoil it all, you should insert these issues that I'm raising now. We hope that the discussions at this forum will help to lay the basis for these to be addressed also in the future. And as we say here on the African continent, Ambassador Tai, there are no holy cows. We discuss everything. We discuss as many things as many people would think cannot be touched. So I'm hoping that in this forum, you will feel free. If you ever felt restricted, I'm giving you a presidential freedom to discuss everything, to talk about everything. Now, beyond the government-to-government discussions, we are particularly pleased with the interactions that have taken place between the private sector representatives, as well as the Labour Forum and Civil Society Forum, as I said earlier. I'm pleased that this is the first AGOA Forum at which, yes, a Labour Forum is held, bringing the voices of not only African workers, but also American workers together. And this, for us, gives strength to what AGOA should be about. This forum is about making sure that policy promotes work. Let me conclude with a reflection, an invitation, and a word of appreciation. The reflection is that I have just concluded this tour of Made in Africa exhibition. When we knew that we were going to have this forum, I suggested to Minister Patel that why don't we have their biggest exhibition, showcasing what African producers can make, so that the world within the confines of this precinct can see what Africa can produce, so that it also enhances the intra-Africa trade process. And today we've been able to showcase precisely that. So I want to applaud the exhibitors, the producers, for coming here and exhibiting your various wares. Some produce healthcare products. Some looked at me and they said, Mr. President, you need lotion. You need to use lotion, and they offered. Some even said, Mr. President, you need to drink wine. And they say, you know, we produce wine, and some have drones. They said, drones are needed not only in South Africa, but on the African continent. So it's been great. For me, it's really been great to see producers on our continent showcasing what you can produce. And by the way, it's not only for the US market, it should also be for the global market. But today, we want to showcase, not show off, as Ambassador Tai, showcase. There's a big difference between show off and showcase. So we wanted to showcase to you and your American colleagues what Africa can produce. We have forever been thought that we are not really producers. And today, with the 500 or so exhibitors here, I think to me, you have proven that you are producers and you can do more. And that is why we would like AGOA to be extended. That is why we want AGOA to be enriched, because we want to sell to the world. They have forever been selling to us. Now it's our chance. Let's go sell to them as well. So this, for me, has been a great opportunity of real appreciation, and I also saw companies involved in food, beverages, chocolates, sugar and chocolates from Cote d'Ivoire, and yes, you've been talking all morning about jollof rice, and I don't even know where it comes from, but all I know comes from West Africa, and that's great. These are examples of African markets leveraging off the continent's industrial capacity. We need many more such companies that have been exhibiting. Next, I want to issue an invitation. I want to invite US retailers, importers, and large corporates to see Africa as a key industrial procurement source, a place that is integral to a more resilient supply chain. We invite US companies to send supply chain managers and procurement officers to the African continent and to scour the continent from north to south, east to west, to set up factories and other businesses. Finally, I wish to express my appreciation to the delegates, you, exhibitors, as I said, social partners, and sponsors as well, for their support to make this forum possible. A particular word of thanks goes to 3 large sponsors, Standard Bank, Sasol, and South 32, for their efforts, as well as the number of other sponsors who have also made valuable contributions to make sure that this forum is held. I hope the trade ministers and members of the US delegation will find time to also enjoy the warm hospitality of the people of South Africa, and that you will be able to join the celebrations that are going on. South Africans, after we won this World Cup, wanted an instant holiday. Instant holiday. And I wanted to test their mettle to see whether they have endurance to celebrate. So I said, no, much as you wanted an instant holiday on the Monday after the victory, I'd like you to postpone your excitement and everything else until later in the year. So you visited us during a period of great celebration. The celebrations are going on, and the rugby team is going around the country, and even as it goes around the country, there's still great celebration. So I hope you'll be able to find time to either see and join in the celebration. And I do wish you a very successful process or session of deliberations, and now feel that this forum is the right center place to discuss how AGOA can be made more effective, much as the decisions in the end are reliant on what is decided in the United States. So what we should be doing is to come up with proposals and suggestions on how we can enhance it and how we can make AGOA more effective for both sides. For the United States also benefits, and Africa also benefits. So it is a mutually beneficial relationship, what I call a smart partnership. So with these words, I now declare the 20th AGOA Forum officially open for business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. And they make me do